of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good afternoon and good evening and welcome to an A.H.A.D moment, the calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister A.H.A.D. With me today we have Lord Holy Apostle Dean Salane, my partner, Brother Fabkil Abdul-Aziz, and we're missing Holy Queen Mother Rabbit, but we wish Ahezaah's peace and other blessings by her presence. And those that are in the audience here and those watch this program through television, may the Lord's peace and other blessings by everyone's presence. You know, praise be to Ahezaah, Allah, amen, in gracing us with the presence of his messenger at the sign of the time that Allah is manifesting in this world in their revelations. So many things, cross, my mind, sitting with the messenger, conversing with him, then Ahezaah leave things with you. Always something in you for your growth, for your betterment and surrender and submission to it. And things that Ahezaah called you to think about and ponder over, life. And I always for years wondered about life because we think we are living in this day and time, going forth from the time we wake up to go to work, our days in school, whatever we're doing, we think life is a separate entity that we have some type of individuality on, independence on, going about that we're going to make our day, make our way through life. And Ahezaah explained through the messages so simple that Ahezaah is life. Then the whole world opened up of difference now. Nothing escapes. We're in the mind of Ahezaah, and we have a moving and being inside of it. But now we start thinking as one seeks to grow in this path of the way, how we really are dependent upon the Lord El for everything and bar nothing in this life. So as we discuss this today, those in the audience, if you have questions, you can always ring in. But those who watch it, think about this as you express or as you go forth, as you wake up, think about how the Lord is always there, never absent of anything that we do, say, think, and so forth. So with that, Holy Apostle, Brother Fakir.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned life and then you mentioned how it's there, all places at all times, so to speak.
Okay.
The thing about it is that most people don't realize, because you have to have some form of realization, meaning you have to bring what's real to life, okay. To living, and they don't remember it. They don't realize that it is the essence of what they breathe, smell, or everything that they sense. They don't realize that that's it. That's and at the same time, some people go too far to the right to think that is only it, or that's the ultimate of it.
Right.
You understand? Because in reality and truth, that's it. But that's just like if you look at yourself in the mirror, that's you. Okay. But is that you? You see, your reflection, is that you? No, that's not you. That's a reflection of you. And the senses is something aside from you, yet it is all of you. Huh? But it can't do anything without you doing it. Huh? And if someone put a cover over that mirror, then your reflection is gone. Yet you are still here. You see? So, they don't, people have a tendency to not realize that life is its manifestation of itself in everything, and that's where I had the problem with the attributes of Allah.
Okay.
Where people say Allah has 100 attributes that it relate to man. See, before they used to say he had 100 attributes. And we know that he is only half. So okay, it has 200 attributes.
Right.
For he and she. But the thing about it is that I realized by what it told me that everything about life is its attributes. Because you see, if you don't, it has been so merciful in breaking down its religion for us in our language. If the Lord don't manifest to you in your language, then it will not be made known to you. So anyone who claiming the Lord in their language and in their culture and saying that it is only for them, and that you only have privilege to it, and then they don't explain what they've got in their language to you in your language, to break it down so that you can understand it in your language, then they have shortchanged you, they have shortchanged themselves for being evil.
Right.
Because the Lord always chooses men to uphold it in a beautiful way. That's what we talk about, upholding his word. It's grace. And it's grace and it's beauty. You know? And it stays beautiful as long as you are one who are a vessel for it. One who carries it. A distributor for it. Distributing it freely. It stays beautiful in that way. But when you close up and become a lock, a safe lock for it, when it gets out to no one but yourself, then it becomes stagnant and ugly. You see? So, you know, like in our day and time, the people of religion, the people of the book before us, before the people of the A.H.A.D, they have gone astray, and they have made the word, the beautiful word, and the beautiful names of Allah ugly. So it has come down and gave us a new name of Ahezaah and beautified its words again. And give them to us in English and break them all down in English. And that's why when we say realize, we understand that the real must be brought to life in our knowledge and our awareness. When before, realize didn't mean that to us. Realize meant, just being aware of something.
Right.
You know? But it's more than just being aware. It's knowing something. We know knowing by what it has told us is experiencing something. It's more than just information.
Right.
When we thought intelligence was smart, no, intelligence ain't got nothing to do with smarts. Nothing at all. Intelligence means a gathering of information. And you got a lot of people who gather the information, but they don't understand that information, don't know how to use that information. You know, maybe even abuse that information. That don't make them smart. And then here we go with smart. You know, within the word smart, you got art.
Got art, right.
Huh? And the thing about being smart is not being wise.
Right.
Wise is being divinely guided by what it says. That's when now it makes sense to us why it says only few men have wisdom.
Right. Right.
When we thought by it saying only few men have wisdom, the prophets before us saying only few men have wisdom, we thought that, or at least the jinn and the advocates of the devil caused us to think that wisdom was smart choices that we make ourselves.
Right.
When it was all leading us away from the truth towards Satan, towards hell, ultimate end of hell, in Hades. You know.
Well, it strikes me when you talk about when Ahezaah, the Lord Ahezaah gives us a thing, but we don't seek to possess it, which is what we're trained to do, thinking that we're an independent thing, thinking that we're capable of holding it, configuring it, and maybe even thinking that we're giving it up. But to stay as an open vessel, you know, it sounds like the teachings given to Jesus. That's given to Jesus. It's better to give than to receive. Most popularly given to Jesus. You know, give whatever you give it up. Give it out. You know, don't let yourself be overfilled with something that you're not capable of holding. You can injure yourself by taking this this beautiful reality as it.
What Jesus said about it's better to give than to receive. You let it fall off your tongue just like it's, you know, a drop of saliva just falling out your mouth. That's what we do as human beings. What Jesus said is what Allah said, and that thing is so deep you could write books on about it being better to give than receive. You know? Well, people let that just fly out their mouth. It's better to give than receive. And then they put their little understanding to it. You know? When I was young, I used to say, it's better to give than receive. People say, why is that? Well, if you give, that means you have to give. So it's better to have to give than to not have to give where you have to receive. That was my little thinking. But you know in reality it's more beneficial that you receive than you giving, don't you?
In reality. But
Yeah.
how we talk.
Come
Yes,
on, let's
yes,
not get
yes,
confused
yes,
now.
yes.
In reality, let's not get confused. In reality, you know that your needs is something that you must receive. Huh? But see, to keep it at a, within context. Jesus said it's better to give than receive because Jesus knew that what you had to give did not belong to you, and that those Israelites were trying to hoard everything and keep everything that belonged to Allah. That they were wrong, and He came to make them to straighten out their wrongs again for them, to straighten that passageway that they had made crooked, that Moses had gave them to straighten it out. What Abraham had gave them to straighten it out because they had made it crooked. And He said it's better to give than to receive. Give up what belongs to Allah.
Right.
It's better to give it up than to receive it, because what He was talking about in receiving it, He was talking about in possessing it. And maybe He said it's better to give than to possess.
Right.
And someone amongst the devils twisted it and said, it's better to give than to receive, to keep us away from the greater truth. It's better to give than to possess. Now, what do you own in this life? If you understand what ownership is, then you know that you don't own nothing, not even your own self. But if you don't understand what ownership is, then you think that you own something. Look how the governments do people in the land. Landlords, they make them pay taxes. Taxes for what? For the earth that belongs to Ahezaah.
Right.
And to justify their doing, they say, well, you paying tax to keep everything in order.
Right.
You paying taxes to keep this road right, to keep the lights coming, to keep, the water flowing, this and that. They become, the jinn with wealth, and you become strugglers. You get a house and they say, oh, that's the greatest success in your life.
Right.
That's a great success. But they don't tell you that getting a house is truly a burden. And they make it a burden.
Yeah.
How many men and women have been ruined by owning a home? How many families have broke up, marriages have broke up because of them owning a home and receiving so much hardship in having that home that they get confused about why they even got married. And they start going in different directions trying to find some peace, and they move away from each other and don't know it's because they tried to possess something that didn't belong to them.
Their so-called blessing now becomes a curse.
It becomes a curse. It was a curse already because of their minds.
Right.
But they didn't realize it as being a curse. They realized, well, I'm going to get mine in this life.
Yeah.
As long as I get mine, you got yours, I'm getting mine. What's yours? Because yours sounds like a possession to me. Sounds like ownership.
I was thinking about what Ahezaah give us, and it always expresses to us over and over. And Ahezaah gives us understanding about how the language, because it all go back to that language again, how with the devil's language, and we take on these words, then we start thinking that we possess, own,
right,
and now that's how we further get away
right,
from the reality of truth in that.
Right.
And how people, because we was discussing, how people many times want to leave religion. Mm-hmm. Because to them they haven't suited their fulfillment in it. Mm-hmm. Because part of it, back to that language, it had really hurt them, and then seeking the Lord's understanding so they can be guided and take what is sent down of His goodness. I was thinking about this week past, going through this little illness I used to have me going through it. Now, all the time I was sick at work, I was just thanking Ahezaah for it. going through things because I thought about Job. All that easily befell him from the Lord, allowed it to happen. And he never cursed Allah. So I thank you for even being sick, because it is you who can take it out of me, make me feel. And as the day went on, then it started slowly, the effects start coming better. I start feeling better at the time. But I thank Allah, because in the hardship, thought about what Allah said, in hardship, people don't want that hardship, don't want the illness, whatever it is Allah going to do to make you right or reprove you. People don't want to, they don't want to go through that. That's the fire, so to speak, that you must go through before you get to the E, to L, to the Ah of that, of itself.
Well, I'll say to you with all sincerity, I hope that that was good for you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can trick ourselves into thinking that something is working as a talisman when actually you made it was going to get better anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the good thing is that you brought the thought back to El.
Right.
When you took it back to Job. That's where the good thing was. You remembered the Lord Most High.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you said something very interesting, and that was about truth. You know, so many people don't realize what truth is, and then that the compromising of the truth.
Okay.
You know how they lose themselves for compromising the truth, and also how when they come into the way of religion, you know, they come wrong, so they must end up wrong.
Okay.
Somewhere in the path of the way of the truth that Allah sent down, and that path of the way is the way to it. You must realize that what you're dealing with is the way to it. Right. So many people don't realize that it is the way to it, and they try to take the way to it to use it for their own self.
Right.
They want to take the path of the way to El, to Allah, to Ahezaah, and gain the goodness of this world.
Yeah.
The riches of this world. For who? For themselves, for their family. So that they can have what? Fame? Fame is flame without the L. So you don't get confused about why words was made up in our English language. You think about it.
Yeah.
You know, so they take the religion and they use it for selfish gains, and therefore they're off track. So in order for a person to get right on the path of the way to it, they have to understand what the path of the way is. They have to understand what the covenants of the Lord sent down from heaven to earth is. They have to understand the purpose of the prophets and the purposes of the messengers, of divine messengers. You understand? They got to understand the purpose of the devil.
Right.
Huh? I mean, there's so many things, but the thing about it is that you must go to the owner of knowledge, the owner of information, the owner of understanding, the owner of life, the owner of creation, the owner of the creator. Somebody said, whoa, wait a minute. The creator is the highest. No, it's not. The creator in El is not the highest. We don't know what the highest is in El. We know that the creator is one unit of its innumerable units of beings. If the creator is the highest, then how can we be destroyed?
That's right.
Once created. It's like a light just went on in you. But it's the truth. You know, see, when you start messing with the Lord, and you start trying to configure its words, and you start calling yourself Sheikh and Imam and priest and Pope and the Father, the Holy Father, the highest next to Jesus in this life, and you know, and you start calling on yourself these divine names, the prophet and the prophetess.
Yeah.
You better be careful. You better be right. And right is who? Is El. When I say I'm right, I'm not talking about in my actions.
Right.
I'm talking about in my being. My mind don't belong to me, and I'm aware that it don't belong to me. Just like this voice is just lent to me in this body, so that I, the real me, can manifest to you and everything else as a human being. I'm not confused about me. But see, Holy Apostle Dean can't do nothing about me. He have to surrender. He's a subject of mine.
That's wild because
Now I hope nobody said, what are you talking about?
I was wild because they relate in the scriptures, you know, how one of the arguments against Jesus was the very thing which you just spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Thee who has seen me has seen the Father." He told the truth.
Yeah, he told the truth. Yeah.
They didn't understand.
No.
One of the experiences, the person experiencing encountering the Quran,
Right.
and the first readings that I was given to understand, and after reading that and having been inspired in that experience with the reading and recognizing Ahezaah, Allah's authority in the book, but then afterward encountering the teachings of the Muslim, the Islamic communities, to now seek out Muhammad, and seek out Muhammad by way of the Hadith literature and the other histories and the traditions and the like that, and which was fine and it was respectable, but the spirit of that search was not the same, and clearly was not the same in what I had encountered in the inspiration of the Quranic reading that I had. And so, I mean, it was a number of some time, even some years, and there was a division in myself. There was some contention in myself. It says, okay, I see Muhammad, but where's Muhammad in the Quran in that sense? You know, like, this Quran is different from what I'm reading in the Hadith literature and the traditional literature. There's a different spirit. There's a different pace. There's a different, you know, element. And the sense that I think I use as much in that, ultimately, the Quran was Muhammad and Ahezaah as one at the same time. It is one. There it is. So, you know, and it wasn't out right away either. It was some struggles, and it was some.
Well, you know what?
Process.
The thing that hit me the most. First of all, let me say I thank Ahezaah much for blessing me not to get involved with Hadith until I had became more thorough in the Holy Quran, because there's a completely different spirit, different book, coming from a different direction, everything.
Yeah.
But the book that hit me the most in my life was the Holy Bible. Not the Holy Quran, the Holy Bible. The reason it hit me so hard was because it was the book of my birth, of my heart, of my parents' heart, and what they gave me from birth. And when I found out what it was through the Holy Quran, I'm like, oh my Lord, what have they done to your book?
Yeah.
What have they done to your book? Wait a minute. These are many books from many different men.
Yeah.
What have they done?
Yeah.
Where's the rest of it? Why are you telling these stories? Huh? And then I look back at the Quran and say, oh shucks. It's the dictionary to this. See, people understand.
Right.
See, Muslims, they get on my nerves. This is the criterion of the... Use a word that people understand. It's a dictionary. It's a book that explains what came before it. The meaning of what came before it and what was to come after it. If you could be truthful about that is the dictionary to what came before it, then you could go beyond the 6,000 years into the 20 and 25,000 years. Go back to the hieroglyphics. Go back to what's written in the temples and on the pyramids and what have you, in the tombs. You can go there and clearly understand it. If you're truthful And then you'll know that Allah is eternal, endless, infinite, and that it will continue to create and speak to man and all his other subjects of life. So, once I realized that the Holy Quran was of the same essence that the Bible, or the Bible was of the same essence of the Holy Quran, I looked and said, wait a minute, this came from the same source. All right, it told stories about men in this book, and it tells stories about men in this book. But this is a book that's coming from one man. Wait a minute. This book is about a man and an angel. It's a man and an angel relating the Lord's words. Wait a minute, which one is Allah? Allah says, say this to them. Is that the angel speaking, or is that Allah speaking? Surely we have created this. Yeah. Wait a minute, who is we? What is we? What is us in this book? I don't see that in the Bible.
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
Yeah.
Huh? And I could tell you from many years ago, we and us is the angels and Allah. Then they come back more recently, we and us is the angels, Allah, and everything in creation. That it manifests to create something through. That's what we is. But you turn the we, the W or the we over, and you got me. In English, I'm telling you, Allah is the master. Huh? We is me.
Yeah.
Huh? Turned upside down. Inside out.
Yeah.
You know? And Ahezaah says that between his absolute self is always something that's between it and its subjects of life. It can never be known absolutely. There's always going to be something. And people can say, well, it got to end somewhere. It's infinite. It's telling you it's infinite. It don't end. If it allows you to go beyond the knowledge of the angels, you're going to find that there's still something between you and it. So it starts saying to me, the book of Muhammad. The book of Muhammad, that's the Holy Quran. Right. Say, what does Quran mean? That which is to be recited. Why don't they say the holy book that is to be recited instead of the Holy Quran? Because they want to leave a puzzle at you, with you. Right. What does holy mean? Complete. The complete book to be recited.
With that, we're going to hold on to that. We want to thank those in our New York audience for watching this program. We pray that Ahezaah bless you heard, enjoy what you've heard. Continue to watch the second part of this program. May the Lord bless you. Have a good evening.
Who of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you